Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Houston's Hustle Hobbies. I'm Patrick Houston, and hustling and making my money and getting ahead in life is what I like to do. And today I wanted to talk about just another one of those 101 subjects, another one of those subjects that, a lot of people between the ages of like 18 to 24, and they're looking to get out of their mom's house, they're looking to get out of a certain situation, have issues with, and that's finding an apartment. Because as a millennial, whether you're out of high school and you just want to get out of your mom's house because it's uncomfortable, or you're out of college and you got some kind of low-level degree and you want to try to start making money off of that, and moving out of your mom's house or your parents' house is like it's kind of a big step. And you don't know what the heck you're doing out there, so you'll find that you'll go to, well, back in my day we used to go to like the Wawa or like the 7-Eleven and get the apartment finder book, and then you quickly realize that all the apartments in the apartment finder book are way out of your price range. So then you try to get like a more normal apartment, and you basically, long back in my day, you would just have to kind of ask around, and you had to know somebody that knows somebody, and it's just a bad system. It's a real bad system. Now today you have the computer. So I want to touch on one thing, dovetailing off the credit episode that I did yesterday. Any person that rents or flips apartments are looking for people with perfect credit. But the interesting thing is, a lot of people with great credit, they're usually not going to stay around in the house too long, and they're usually looking for a house, because anybody with good credit knows that, it's actually, really expensive to rent a place. So you end up going for some hole in the wall place. I ended up getting a house at 1101 North 63rd Street, Liberty Towers in West Philly, and I had a leaking pipe, and I had I could spread my arms out and touch either wall of my bedroom. So you're gonna get like a crappy apartment. Just go into it realizing that. And also, you're going to have to deal with, if you don't have good credit, you're going to have to deal with seedy landlords. It's going to be it's some really dirty stuff that some of these landlords do. So here's some tips. First of all, Craigslist / Facebook Marketplace are the best places that I've seen by far to find any decently priced studio apartment. That's another thing I should just touch on real quick. Studio apartments. Get a studio apartment. If you're not going to get a studio apartment, get a roommate. I don't care if you get a 1-bedroom where you sleep in the living room and your roommate makes a living room out of the bedroom, but get a roommate if you're not going to get a studio apartment. You also, if you have bad credit and you're trying to find an apartment, like I said, you're going to deal with seedy landlords who are going to be looking at your character rather than your credit because you don't have it. So you want to make sure you make yourself as presentable as possible. That's really, really, really important. And we all know that they want first and last month security, and they want first and last month security down. So that's basically 3 times the your normal monthly rent. Now, I'm going to get into price points about what you should pay for an apartment and nothing more if you really, really have to get an apartment, a studio or 1-bedroom, excuse me. Ugh. You don't want to pay more than $600 for a studio apartment. I know it's hard because of inflation, and I think, I don't know if Philly is rent controlled, but you don't want to pay more than $600 for a studio apartment. You just don't. If you're a woman, you're going to find a studio apartment in a bad neighborhood. It'd be a good idea to get a taser. It's this messed up world. You know what it is. But you are going to have to sacrifice the comfort of a neighborhood for a cheap apartment. There's no way around it. If you got somebody that plays music, buy some earplugs. You know what situation you're in, and you know what you need to do to get out of it. So Anywhere between 400 and 600 for a studio apartment. Keep to the Craigslist books. Pay no more than $700 to $900 for a 1-bedroom. And if you have like kids and you need a 2-bedroom, you gotta bond with your kids. You don't need your you time that much. Spend time with your kid. It's gonna be more beneficial in the end. So, Craigslist, look presentable. Realize you need to, when you go into that interview with your landlord, you need to interview that landlord. That's really important. You need to interview with that landlord as much as they interview with you. You need to look at their character. You need to look at that apartment. You need to make sure every faucet works. You need to make sure every light bulb works. If they have the old type of wiring, like if it's a house that's over 70 years old, the way you'll know that is if you see outlets in the house that don't have like the third prong in the middle, the third little middle one. If you have a lot of outlets with like 2 prongs in it, expect that you're going to have some electrical problems. So you might not want to pick a different place. See if the apartment also has like layers of paint. You'll see like landlords, what they'll do is they'll just keep slathering layers and layers and layers of paint on apartments because the turnover is so crazy, and they just it almost looks like they just stick a stick a dynamite in the paint and just blow it up, and then that's the paint, whatever. So it's just a nightmare in some of these places. You want to check. I said check plumbing. I said check electricity, and then you want to look at the apartment when your landlord takes you there. And then you want to look at the apartment again when he's not there. And the way you do that is just sort of drive by or walk by or ride your bike by the apartment. See who your other fellow tenant neighbors will be, and see if you like the atmosphere. And like I said, if you don't, if you're willing to deal with some bull crap for a cheap apartment, invest in some good earplugs or whatever you need to do. So, that's my takeaways. Yeah, those are my 3 takeaways. If you have bad credit and you need to find an apartment, I would say go to Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Those are really, really good sources. Also, you need to look at your landlords. You need to interview your landlords just about as much as they interview you. That's really important because landlords are assholes. So that's really important. So try those things. I wish you well, man, because it's going to be hard out there, man. It's hard because the way they want, people want to charge more rent and give you less, and you really need to be aware of that because there's some of these landlords out here have like 150, 200 properties, and they don't give a crap about you. So you got to be really, really, really careful. Anyway, I hope this video helps anybody. If you need me to get into detail on anything, give me a comment. I'm usually driving around, so I can respond to most things in good time. Thanks for listening to me if you made it this far, because nobody ever does. Live high, live mighty, live righteously. Take it easy.